I first experienced solo sexual discrimination when I was 13 years old, believe it or not. So it was my first year of high school, and I had learned about all these events like prom, and I I asked my friends, should I go there? And my friend said, well, do you have somebody to go with? And I'm thinking to myself, how does an event relate to having a date to go with, right? So you got to understand, I was a little bit ahead of my peers in a number of subjects. I studied computer science in college, and by 13 I was already teaching myself how to calculate pi, and I was also fascinated, I still am, but not to the degree that I was back then, with chemistry. And I did a lot of experimentation in my room, and one time I had almost caused the house to explode. That's the kind of kid I was. And I'm thinking to myself, I could be just as fun, at an event without a date, but I was made uncomfortable enough that I did not go. Let's put it that way. Now, over the coming years, throughout the rest of high school and into college, I often felt pressured to meet up with people, and oftentimes I hung around the wrong crowd because I felt the alternative was all this prejudice and being denied various events or see, I had a friend in college, and he was single at the time that I met him. He eventually got a girlfriend, and then he stopped talking to me. I'm thinking to myself, why can't I join in? I mean, you guys go on multiple dates. I didn't identify as solosexual at the time, but I'm just thinking, why can't I join in? I was working on my PhD, and you got to understand, most of my classmates had, some of them were married, most of them had a committed relationship, a few even had children. So our schedules were always negotiable, let's put it that way. And our professors would ask, especially for the fall semester, we would want to make sure that nobody's Thanksgiving, Christmas plans got interrupted. But one year, I actually wanted to reschedule my exam for other personal reasons. I can't remember what it was. I used to love to collect coins. It might have been a coin show or something. And I didn't feel accepted for that. I mean, I could have told my professor maybe, but I didn't because everybody was talking about... I was basically made uncomfortable about asking. Feel free to chime in the comments if you felt I should have asked. Long story short, I went to the coin show, I raced around, and somehow I got around to studying for the exam. It was all good, but it felt like I didn't get accommodated when I could have, when they were already accommodating everybody else, right? Now, my 4 years at Rochester Institute of Technology, I only missed one meeting out of 4 years. And the reason I missed the meeting was kind of ironic. I had gone onto Craigslist to buy a used laptop, and I took it home, and I realized the laptop was infected with all sorts of, basically the computer equivalent of COVID-19. And I was very upset, and I thought I had gotten scammed, and I raced back to the guy's home because he wasn't answering his phone, and I frantically raced back to his... It turned out he had made a mistake. He wasn't out to scam me. I mean, I think I could tell some characters, and I had a good vibe when I was at his home. He just made a mistake. He forgot to install some kind of antivirus, or I can't remember the details. I went to his home to take care of it. And when I got back, I realized I forgot a meeting. Now I'm thinking to myself, I had been there for 2 years at this point. Okay, that's the first meeting I missed. You have other students who are always out because of sick family members or childcare issues. And I just don't have a spouse to take care of other things in my life, like buying a computer on Craigslist. And it just felt very discriminatory. I realize that there are wants and there are needs, but at the same time, I don't have a spouse to take care of these other things in my life, right? I would argue the computer was kind of important for my research as well, right? And I didn't have a spouse to take care of it, and it just slipped my mind, right? My advisor was very upset, and she's the kind of person who would scream her head off over a missed meeting like that. Let's just put it that way. And then I ran into significant barriers at my very first job because I had difficulty with asking for any sort of time off. My first job was also the social climate was very different. People blurred the lines of work and personal life way too much there, and it really worked to my disadvantage of having a difference in family situation. During the pandemic, I felt a lot of prejudice, right? I would go out and, you got to understand that at the beginning when we had the attitude, we're all in this together, a lot of times people only related to people that they they could relate to, right? And unfortunately, for families, it's become very cult-like, right? Families take care of each other and singles are just left out there, right? Anyway, thought I would point that out. Now, what can we do over the next month? Because June 13th is my solo sexual anniversary. June 13, 2010 is when I first identified as a solo sexual. The truth is I was probably solo sexual long before that. So, depending on where you work, I encourage you to go up to one of your solo sexual colleagues and offer them a chance to make first dibs on their summer vacation plans, right? I mean, it can't hurt, right? We can always work around it. We just need to recognize that these people also have their wants and needs in life, right? And don't forget, these people don't have a backup in terms of their income, in terms of their time, right? You got a coworker who's solo sexual. He probably has things that need taken care of, like a home repair or a car repair, right? See, one of the trickiest days I ran into this past year at my work was one day my car had broken down. And I'm thinking, gee, I've never heard any of my coworkers call into work say they don't have a ride to work because all my coworkers are married. And what do I tell my work? I picked up the phone and I was already very frustrated with the car. I forgot that there's a lot of prejudice against it. I said, my car is broken. And to my surprise, my manager was very understanding of that. And so my number 2 suggestion is, if you're solo sexual, be honest about it, right? Don't call in and say my kid is sick, or you're only making it worse for other solo sexuals if you do that, right? All right, so 2 suggestions over the next month and a half until my solo sexual anniversary. If you're solo sexual, speak up about it, be honest. If you're not, take care of somebody who is. And we're all in this together.